Ladies and gentlemen, we do have another big time 2024 election update. Many Democrats last night after the debate coming out saying they need to replace Biden. Logistically, is it even possible? You've got some states potentially. The deadline already is passed in terms of getting a new candidate on the ballot. Maybe there's some exemptions. Maybe if Biden gets sick and has to be removed, they could potentially instill the new candidate, maybe pick them at the DNC, although we already know they're going to know who it is before the DNC. But then pick the candidate, get all this momentum, and still be on the ballot. I know people are saying, well, there's some certain states where that might not be possible based on their ballot rules. We will see. And we've also got apparently Joe Biden is just in total control. Joe doesn't know where he is. And Joe Biden's out there now in North Carolina doing this rally. Jill's there as well. It's being reported apparently Joe Biden is like totally lost. Jill is the one controlling everything. And she's saying, we're not dropping out. I control my husband, and he's going to run in 2024. So that's kind of the holdup it looks like right now in terms of Biden potentially dropping out and also some other logistical problems that I'm sure they're going to have to work out. We see all the reports that Biden says he's going to remain in the race. It's not surprising if he just, like, when you think about it, Biden has the terrible debate last night. All the Republican theories, the concerns prove to be true. He basically can't talk. And we've got stuff with Democrats like Cuban trying to defend Biden in one of the most dumb tweets I've seen, or at least dumb sentences I've seen against Piers Morgan. It's crazy. I'm going to go to it and just like, how dumb is this guy? What he said is so wrong, and it's provable. But what's going on right now with Biden, the dynamic, Gavin Newsom, could it be somebody else? Maybe Hillary. I would imagine right now it's probably going to be Gavin Newsom, unless someone else comes up. We also do have the odds that have just come way down. Now they've stabilized for Biden at around 65% chance to be the Democratic nominee. But we do have some stuff with Joe Scarborough just getting angry, lashing out at his co-host. She's trying to calm everyone. And Scarborough's just like, listen, honey, this is terrible. This is really bad news. And I'm guessing people have told Scarborough they need to get Biden out. And the big problem for Biden is you can kind of swing this like it's June, nobody's going to remember. But this was an ongoing thing where it was Republicans versus Democrats. Republicans were saying Biden can't talk, he can't do his job. Democrats were just denying it, saying it's all deep fakes. That's why I was so confused. I'm like, it's very obvious. He can barely, like, what are we doing? You're saying it's that he can barely walk. There's 5 moments a day where Biden cannot talk. You know, he struggles. He's like crouched over. He shows up to the debate. He's like, overweight now with all the pills he's on. And I think he got on something for the debate for the speech that he just had in North Carolina. He was really angry again. And Biden is leaning into this kind of, America is great. We're the best country ever, because Trump's doom and gloom. Obviously, if you're a candidate running against the incumbent, you're going to say right now sucks. But Biden is like, oh, this is the American dream. We have the best country ever. Which I agree with in general. But obviously, when it comes to what's happened the last 3 or 4 years, it's like he's doing an overview and trying to bring everyone together on the fact that America's great. And I think Trump should do that as well. America is an amazing country, but you can't do all the doom and gloom. So apparently Joe Scarborough lashing out at his co-host there look at this, one off night doesn't change the fact that Biden is the most legislatively successful president in our lifetime. And so it's one-off night for them. Biden can't even talk, but it's one-off night, I guess. And this has been happening time and time again. Gavin Newsom, this is interesting, and this can be used if Newsom actually runs. He slept with his campaign manager's wife, and he's talking about Trump's sex life. So he comes out here. This is obviously a while ago, the AP, but he's like, I'm so sorry to my campaign manager. It was a terrible thing. So that can be used against Newsom. If Newsom wants to talk about anything in relation to Trump and all the guilt tripping that Biden did, your pregnant wife, you cheated on her, things like that, that's terrible against Newsom. So he's not going to be saying anything when it comes to that. If he is the nominee, we don't know. You're taking a look at this. This is New York Times. Who won, Biden or Trump? Everyone says Trump, even the social justice warrior women with the red hair. That's dyed red. That's not like mine. And then you do have the two black dudes. They just can't admit it. I mean, Biden could faint with the first word he says, and these guys would be like, oh, it's tied because Trump's so evil and a threat to democracy and it's all that. But I mean, they've even admitted this is not close. It's really bad for Biden. And it swung so far to where they're like, all right, we got to remove him. And that's with the whole CNN thing right after the reaction. I mean, you could take a look. They are fucked. Democratic source coming out and saying that. And then this is interesting in regards to Biden and what's going on. I'm going to look at this. This is big news. Barack Obama sitting down with Joe Biden. Jill Biden is insistent that Joe runs. Kamala is furious that she is not being considered as a replacement. Gretchen Whitmer and Newsom are. I highly doubt it's going to be her. You need someone with more name recognition. Interestingly, my neighbor in East Hampton is hosting the Bidens tomorrow. So maybe a fundraiser. I don't think it's going to be canceled. I mean, the way they've operated here after the debate, it's like everything's fine. Biden is still running. You have to understand how horrible would it look for them. Biden has a horrible debate. Everyone agrees. Liberals admit it. And then the next day or like the next few days, he drops out. Everyone would be like, that's terrible. That, you know, just because you had a horrible debate, you're going to drop out. There has to be something that happens with Biden to where he can't, you know, physically can't do it. I think it's very important for them in terms of being eligible, getting whoever the candidate that they're going to put in, whether it's Newsom or someone else, getting them eligible for every single state. And apparently Jill Biden just will not relinquish the power. Kamala is pissed off. So it's like an infighting with Jill and Kamala. And maybe there might be like a boxing match or something they're saying. So some interesting stuff there. This is what I was talking about. This is big. It's likely already too late to remove Biden from the ballot in Wisconsin. It's already too late to remove him. But again, you'd have to think there's some type of exemption. Like, what if a candidate dies? I'm not saying, you know, Biden's going to die. I'm just saying in general, from now until the election in Wisconsin, the party just would not be able to have anyone run. There has to be exemptions to that. You really need to look into this stuff because there's no way that's the actual rule. Because Nevada, after tonight, the 4th of Friday in June, it will be too late to remove Biden. So Nevada is about to come off. This is if this is true. Again, I think there were probably exceptions. Georgia, only a few weeks left before it's too late. And you can see the Heritage Oversight Project has set their sights on 3 contentious swing states where they believe taking Biden off the Democratic ticket would not allow anyone else to replace him. It's Georgia, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Right now, Georgia and Nevada should be going to Trump. Wisconsin is the one that would be catastrophic if a Democratic candidate could not replace Biden on the ballot there, which would basically screw the Democrats. So if this is true, and I'm not saying it is, maybe there are exemptions, and I do believe they say Wisconsin does not allow withdrawal from the ballot for any reason besides death. So that does make sense. Okay, so it does say that, but that's huge with Wisconsin. So they're saying if this is true and there are no exemptions, there's really no way they can replace him. Because if they replace him, the candidate coming in is already going to be so far up against it, and they're going to already lose Wisconsin, which they need because they've already lost Florida. They're going to lose Georgia. They flipped it in 2020 with all the inner city mail-in ballots. They're going to lose it in 2024. Nevada is slipping, and then also Arizona as well. They need Wisconsin. They need to run the table in those 3 states. So are they forced to stick with Biden if this is true, or will they somehow find a loophole, workaround that could enable them to possibly still have their candidate on the ballot in all 50 states, possibly inserting them when the DNC happens and trying to gain the momentum after that? We will have to see when it comes to it. This was just a crazy ratio. That's the reason I wanted to show this. 49K replies, 36K likes, and I liked it because I bookmarked it, but I contributed to the Biden campaign to try and help that ratio, but because I didn't respond to it, but 49K responses versus 36K likes, 50 million views, my God. And of course they have to say he won. New Jersey general election, Trump +1, based off of what happened last night. You're going to see a slew of polls. New Jersey, possibly a swing state now. New York is going to tighten up. Nevada's for sure going to Trump. After last night, they can try and correct it, and they can have the narrative that, well, in the second half of the debate, Biden was better. He turned it around, and maybe they can use that in September. This is the only thing good for the Democrats is that this happened in June. Now, the problem with it was the sparring between Republicans and Democrats. Republicans saying Biden is completely incoherent. Democrats saying he's fine. Fake news. And then with Republicans, it turns out they are exactly right. Biden can barely speak during that entire debate, especially at the beginning of it. So New Jersey possibly in play, Minnesota probably with Trump up 4 or 5, maybe Illinois becomes in play as well. This is just like a rapid reaction. I would imagine it would go back down, but based off of what happened last night, it's more so confirming what everyone thought about Biden, which is the big issue. Even though the debate happened in June, it's still going to have a lasting effect because this is something that's gone on and on and on, and there's arguments on both sides, and it finally gets exposed. So, and they're still trying to play it off. There are a lot of people defending Biden. Jill Biden, what you saw last night on the debate stage was Joe Biden. So she's standing by. She's angry. She's advising Joe now, apparently. She's giving him stuff. She's telling him, go up there, be mad. He gives this speech today. It reminds me of when he was speaking during the State of the Union, just really nasty. We also do have this Hollywood celebrities lashing out and blaming Jake Tapper, apparently, one of the moderators for Biden's horrible performance. The networks are packaging this as entertainment like a boxing match and selling democracy down the river. I mean, I just don't understand how you can defend Biden. What do you want Jake Tapper to do? Stick his hand up Biden's ass and talk for him? He just let him talk. What do you want? He let him talk. He couldn't speak. There was 7 seconds where Biden just stood there, couldn't say anything. Even during the abortion issue, this is the other problem. In the issues where the Democrats have a political edge with independence, like abortion, Biden is not coherent. Now, maybe if they asked that question later in the debate, he'd do better. But even still, even later in the debate, he's just not coherent. He talks too fast or too slow. He mumbles. You can't hear him well. So even in issues where Democrats should do well, he can't capitalize on it. And I will say, I do think the way they did this, where it was muted mics, no, honestly, I was going to say it helps Trump, but it doesn't matter because Biden is so old and he can't adapt to anything Trump says. Trump was saying a lot of stuff. He was not answering the questions towards the end. That's whatever. I mean, if I was Trump, I would just give token answers to, whatever questions they have at the end, and you just make sure the focus is on Biden. They're trying to turn it and say, well, Trump's his same old self. He won't answer any questions. He's a liar. It's like, oh my God. They literally pointed out, CNN pointed out like 15 different Biden lies throughout the debate. Both of the candidates lie. So this whole thing with Trump being a liar, it's like, yeah, that's politics. Biden does it as well. It comes down to how competent you are, the cognitive, and Trump coming out during the debate. This was smart and saying he took a cognitive test. He passed like 2, and Biden won't do it, of course, because Biden would not pass. I think it's very obvious at this point. I think a lot of Democrats would agree with that. It's just really bad. You've also got The View coming out and saying the debate, a CNN hosted debate, was skewed against Biden, and that's why he performed so poorly. They asked him questions, and he could not speak. I'm not going to swear. I was about to swear it, but it's like, oh my God. It's just hard to do it. The president conducted a campaign rally. This is what I was talking about in North Carolina. This was really nothing. I thought it was going to be something else there when it comes to that. You've got Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart possibly saving the day, coming in as the silver fox and running for the Democrats in 2024. I don't think so. If anything, I think it'd be Newsom, but I saw that. And then here is Cuban responding to Piers Morgan. And then I also do have the odds that I wanted to show. So Cuban is still saying that, well, Biden is terrible, but so is Trump, like they're comparable. This is what Cuban said, and this is just the horrible, horrible sentence. The reality is Joe wasn't capable last night of debating someone who only lies. He doesn't have the energy or ability to shout him down, hold him accountable, and laugh at Trump's responses. Joe Biden got asked the first question, if I remember correctly, and he could not talk. It was before Trump even spoke. He just can't talk. I don't know what to tell these people. I don't know what they see. I just cannot see it. He could not talk. You could not understand him. It has nothing to do about, now I will say later in the debate, sure, it's a big problem. Biden's way too old. But like this whole thing, it's just like he could not talk. Nobody could understand what he spoke before Trump, and he like mumbled his way through. He was talking so quickly in that opening statement. It's total crap. It's the same thing. It's all the gaslighting. Oh, Biden's bad, but so is Trump. It is ridiculous, and so I just wanted to point that out. But we also do have this You can see right now Biden at around, this is basically a 67% chance, give or take, 67 cents on the dollar in terms of betting. Newsom's around 20. So Newsom's gone back down after his big pump. That a lot of that has to do with Biden coming out saying he's definitely running. He's already had a rally. So they're trying to like stabilize and do damage control on the whole thing that happened last night. You do also have Kamala. I will say the big news is if that is true, especially with Wisconsin, and people are going to have to look into that and make sure, but their real only options are Biden dying or he's going to have to run. Because think about how far up against it they would be running someone like Newsom and he can't be on the ballot. So Trump wins Wisconsin basically by default. I would imagine in that scenario, a lot of liberals would vote for RFK Jr. in Wisconsin to try and take that state away from Trump. That's actually an interesting dynamic. But I don't think they would. I'm just saying that could play out, something like that could play out. So it really seems like it's Biden, Newsom, Kamala. I highly doubt they'll do a retread with Hillary. All of these people are just not known enough. You do have RFK was originally running as a Democrat, switched to independent. So these are just all people that it's just not going to happen. Buttigieg. So I would imagine it's going to be probably one of these three. I'm surprised Michelle Obama is not here. That's very strange. I don't know if they're like really worried about Michelle Obama possibly being the choice and losing a bunch of money, or if there's another reason that she's not here. Because you would think she would be another one. It would be Newsom, Obama, Biden, and possibly Harris. And apparently Harris is just pissed off. She's angry at Jill. There's like a rivalry now. Jill Biden totally controlling Joe. I mean, she's walking Joe around. She's obviously got a lot more, like she's a normal person. She's got her full functions. She's leading Joe around like he's some type of doll, like porcelain doll. And she's like, go talk here, go do this. And she won't relinquish the power. She feels something right now and she won't give it up. And that's what's happening. And they're dealing with it. I think they're going to work it out. But when it comes to being on the ballot, that we're going to have to see if that's true with Wisconsin. Nevada, apparently, a similar situation. But I do think Trump's going to win Nevada either way. Technically, they can lose Nevada. The Democrats can and still win. And then what was the other state? Georgia. They can lose Georgia and still win. They cannot lose Wisconsin. So that's where we are right now. We will see what ends up happening. They're not going to remove Biden within the next few weeks. It would look bad. And then are they going to have to do something catastrophic to Biden to really be able to do this situation and switch him out and be on the ballot in Wisconsin with Biden possibly? I don't know what will happen, but this is crazy what could happen in terms of this election. Is Jill going to step aside? Is Kamala going to fight to possibly be the choice? They would hate that. Kamala, believe it or not, I believe would be worse than Biden still. Even with Biden doing what he did last night, losing New Jersey now, according to a poll. It is just one poll, but there were already polls coming out of New Jersey that had Trump only down 5 or 6. So all of this stuff is coming out, and I would expect some news probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks. Let's wait to get the polling update that talks about this election and get people's feedback in some of these swing states. I think Trump is going to go up significantly, at least 2 or 3 points, and he was already surging. So guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.